Welcome to the regular briefing session of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. We're going to have a briefing on the next scheduled meeting for the board. And to get this underway is our Vice Chairman, Don Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And our next regular meeting is October 27th. And our county manager is going to review the agenda items.
Yep.
Thank you.
In the broad sense of the review that we've been doing. So what we have kind of on tap right now is one discussion item and then an agenda that's got, I think, 25 matters. The discussion item has been in our agenda management system, and it is a long-term lease at Smith Reynolds Airport with Piedmont Flight Training. And so we've been in negotiations. We've sort of found ourselves at an impasse in trying to prepare an agenda item. It really made more sense to just back up and let's have a discussion about it. So what you'll hear next Thursday, you'll hear from Mark Davidson, sort of his efforts around making a proposal to Piedmont Flight Training, and then I'm sure the gentleman and the staff with Piedmont Flight Training will be here to sort of make their case. It is important and it is time sensitive because we do have the terminal building project is underway. We should get some final numbers on that. It'll be after the first of the year, but it will be pretty quickly after the first of the year. And Piedmont Flight Training, as you know, they are in temporary space. They moved out of the brick building that was demolished, and they are located in a small building that's not attached to the terminal building, but just adjacent to it. And we do need to make some decisions about how to handle that as we go through construction, because obviously that building will be torn. The building they're in will be torn down for construction. So we have that as a discussion item, and then I'll go ahead and dive into the items that are in our agenda management system, and will be on the printed agenda. So you've got one economic development matter. There's not a company name related to that. We informed the company that we expect that name to be made public prior to the board having the briefing, and in most cases that is possible. I'm not exactly sure of the exact nature of that for this particular one, but anyway, we do have an economic development matter. Obviously, if something changes between now and then, and they do not commit to coming to this community, we will take that off. But right now, we feel pretty comfortable about it. So we have a special resolution. You've seen this before. It's really a housekeeping matter. You do have a requirement to designate new review officers to review and certify maps, and so you'll take action on that. You've got minutes. We have three budget and finance items. You've got some dollars to appropriate for renovations at the Forsyth County Social Services Health Campus Renovation Project. You've got some budget ordinance amendment for adoption promotion program incentive funds that you'll hear from DSS about. And then you've got a budget ordinance amendment that would be taking some dollars from contingency. As you know, the forestry program partnership in North Carolina is a 60% state, 40% county funded program. And the state actually did a pay adjustment that impacted that contract for this year. It's not a whole lot of money, but this would let us keep pace with that 60-40 agreement with the very few forestry staff that we have. Grants, you have 5 grant matters. You have an execution of agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. I know nothing really about this, but you're going to hear from Mark Davidson about a flight operations counting service. That's counting, not accounting, but counting service. I think we're going to count airplanes, but you'll hear about that. There's a resolution approving the rural operating assistance programs, the North Carolina Department of Transportation funds for that. That's a pretty routine item. You got a resolution authorizing the necessary documents for a grant for the North Carolina Land and Water Fund grant for some improvements at the airport. I think next week's going to be Airport Day. And then item 10 is a resolution authorizing submission of an application to the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources for an AFP, an Accessibility for Parks grant. Thoughts are we could boost the project there at Blues Lake. with that and actually use that to build the playground that's at that facility. We are working on trying to get the Blues Lake project to you, and hopefully just here in the short term, we can bring you a project scope plan and an amount to, and actually the construction documents under the design build work that we've already been doing, but we're excited about that. Item 11, you got a resolution with accepting the Family Planning Services Grant from North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, so you'll hear about that. We have 6 contracts that you'll hear about next week. You'll have an application and conveyance agreement for a easement there at the airport to support the terminal, to support the hangar projects. You've got 2 matters related to purchase of vehicles. You're going to hear from Damon Sanders Pratt all about the courthouse. And that project is going underway very nicely. One of the contracts there is security access control and video surveillance system at the new courthouse, and it really is kind of state-of-the-art technology in a state-of-the-art building. And so he'll update you also on sort of where the courthouse is. If you want to walk through that at some point in time, Damon and I did it a couple of weeks ago. It's really starting to come together, and you can really start get the feel for what that facility is going to feel like and look like, and it is going to be so much of an improvement, and the flow of it's just going to be so much better. Item 16 is a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Vanguard Professional Staffing, with some more temporary staffing needs that we have to fill. And then item 17, you've got an agreement with interlocal agreement with schools regarding school public health nursing services for medically fragile children. And I know y'all have dealt with that before. In the world of property matters, you've got 2. You've got 1 matter. There's Duke Energy Carolina easements that is required actually across 100 Horizons Lane, which is the Horizons Park property. And so Kirby will talk to you about that. And then you've also got an agreement to purchase some real property at Blues Creek. Kirby's been working hard and has been able to work through a successful negotiation with the owner of that property, and that will be key to the Blues Lake. So next week's going to be, it'll be airport and parks and Blues Lake and courthouse and some other, whatever comes up that we have to as far as discussion items between now and then. We don't anticipate a closed session, but that could and may very well change as well. So that is it for me.
I know you have a lot of figures moving around in your head. Do you have a just ballpark figure, a bottom line total for everything that's going on at the airport right now, and what it would take to make it all come together? I'm trying to think in my mind about what we have in the budget, and then I think in my mind what we're doing out there and what's going on, and Christmas is coming up, and so I don't have any idea what's going on out there dollar-wise. Do you?
So, we're actively spending the $17 million bond issue that was issued out there, and so those projects are underway. The $23 million state appropriation is kind of actively being programmed right now. There were some PAYGO dollars that were used out there. Most of those projects are pretty much complete. You've got the $4.5 million that was the EDA grant that's going on in MRO Holdings. You've got the proceeds from the sale of Lansing, which was about $1.5 million, that's being funneled back into 3810 building for improvements there. And so anybody who says that you're not investing heavily in Liberty Street and East Winston is wrong. So
A million here, a million there. What's the sum total of what you just said?
It's around 50 million.
50?
yeah, and really, I think to Commissioner Kaplan's point, I mean, we really do have another $20 million worth of needs.
50.
I'm sorry, I'm going to round up. So
Here, 100?
So we'll be working with the legislators to try to.
It's a parking deck.
Oh, God.
Parking deck? Are we in touch with our legislative delegation to get state money too?
We are actively, that is high on our priority list.
However, your airport is making money. Pretty cool.
There you
pretty
go.
cool.
How much is it making, Ted?
We can't discuss that.
Mr. Chairman, I had one question for the manager, please. I know we have a lengthy agenda next week, but could you give us a ballpark figure of how successful we were in applying American Rescue dollars to that qualified census tract communities? We had an 80%
So
projection for that.
We
I
did
don't know
that
how
work.
close. Just give me a little.
Kyle, do you-
One statement.
Let me look to Kyle Wolf.
Okay.
I can't remember. I know we got close, and so I can get that to you. We did do a pretty good
Yeah,
Yes.
dive on it.
Thank you.
yeah.
We'll
Appreciate
get
it,
that to
Kyle.
you.
Well, if I can weigh in, I thought that I last heard 85%. So we actually exceeded in some areas.
Do you remember
But if
Kyle?
we're right at 80, I'm happy with 80 as
Wait,
well.
wait 1 minute, and I'll tell you what Kyle had on his report to
I
me.
think so.
That's what I was looking for.
Unless you're not comfortable with that, Kyle, but hold on 1 second. And I apologize, I thought I got that to you, but I did get it to you? Oh, see, once I get it to you, I forget what, I can't remember everything, so. Hold on.
Bring it back to me for next week's for the old man on the team here. I'd appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, we'll make sure we,
Yeah, I think we were. Well, so for round 2, it was 86.3%, and so I think this one is just my round 2 numbers. We'll get that to you. We've done the deep dives.
yeah.
Alyssa.
Could I say a special thank you to Damon and to General Services for making our green light for veterans successful, lighting up our buildings green. And by next week, we should know if some of our local stores are going to be carrying green light bulbs so that citizens can just put one green light bulb out to honor all our veterans. And thank you, Damon. I appreciate it. He has pictures of what the buildings are going to look like, all lit up green. And do you know if the city is going to participate?
They are. I've talked to my counterparts there, so they're going to participate as well.
Yes.
Good, that's great.
Yeah, just a footnote, the Creative Quarters Coalition is also involved in making the bridges green as well.
Good, good. Thank you.
And the only other item I would add is Rosalind's been great this week and has done triple duty getting us ready for today and allowed us not to call Ashley and let her enjoy her time away. And so that was a real gift to us, but to Ashley too. So thank you, Rosalind.
Thank you, Rosalind.
Thank you, Rosalind.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
You
Mr. Kaplan?
want to go home? We're going to party tonight. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All right.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Adjourn.